In a recent interview with Sky News' Sophy Ridge, war criminal established former Prime Minister Tony Blair spoke against wind vane politics, where politicians just follow the latest trend or public opinion, basically what Keir Starmer is doing, instead of doing what's genuinely right for the country.
We had the Grenfell inquiry out yesterday, which really laid bare, I guess, like a failure of successive governments. Made me think about the post office scandal, the infected blood scandal, these injustices that have gone on for decades. Do you accept there has been a failure of leadership and of government?
Yeah, I think, look, it's a difficult thing to say, but it's the honest truth. However good your system is, and however well-intentioned it is, and however hard people work, they're going to make mistakes. And it's important you hold people accountable for those mistakes, of course. But I don't think you're ever going to get a situation where, decisions are perfectly taken in perfect circumstances and there aren't accidents or tragedies that occur. It's just important every time they do occur to try and learn the lessons of them.
I just want to read a sentence that really stood out to me in your book. You said, "The leader sets out for the people what they need and not simply what they want." Does that sound a bit arrogant?
Yeah, which is why I say this is going to sound weird to you, but I honestly think it's really important, this. I think I quote the old Henry Ford thing about, the Ford Motor Company, where he was asked, why don't you give people what they want? And he said, if I ask people what they want faster horses. The job of the political leader, of course, your job is to do your best for the people and to advance their interests and their prosperity and their well-being, of course. But your job is to lead and not just to follow. So if all you're doing is just, if you're trying to work out through opinion polls or looking at social media, what is it they're saying? OK, let me go off and do that. That's not leadership.
You've spoken in interviews recently about Donald Trump, about Vladimir Putin. One person who I am quite interested to get your perspective on is Benjamin Netanyahu. What kind of leader do you think he is?
Well, look, I'm still involved quite a lot with what's going on in the Middle East right now. And so I'm not going to get into commenting on individual leaders, since that wouldn't be very helpful to what I'm doing. The most important thing is that we get a ceasefire that's sustainable and that we find a path back to some concept of security for the Israelis and self-determination for the Palestinians. And that's as much as you're going to get on that.
One key point he raised was about Brexit. Recalling a conversation with a member of the public, Blair mentioned that a true leader gives people what they need, not simply what they want. Sure, that can come off as a little bit arrogant, he says, but sometimes it's true. Blair used Henry Ford's famous line, "If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses." Leadership is about guiding the country in the right direction, not just pandering to the loudest voices on social media or polling results. Blair argued that simply following the whims of public opinion is not real leadership, and though I may not be a fan of his past decisions, this is a very important point to consider. He also touched on a key issue with Brexit. During the campaign, Blair, with his deep involvement in European politics, had a far better understanding of the impact of leaving the EU than most people. He met with European leaders, sent representatives to Brussels, and was directly engaged with discussions about Britain's role in Europe. It may have come across as elitist, okay, when he said, I do know more because I was Prime Minister for 10 years. But the reality is that political leaders are better positioned to grasp the complexities of these massive decisions. Back in 2016, the public was not properly informed, and I've spoken at length about this on my channel, about the consequences of Brexit. Politicians essentially offloaded this huge responsibility onto them, and many were led to believe it wouldn't disrupt the UK's relationship with the single market, myself included. People were told everything would stay the same or get better, which clearly wasn't the case. I've also spoken to great lengths about it on the channel as well. It's hard for the average voter with their everyday responsibilities to fully grasp the long-term consequences of such a movement change. Blair's critique of wind vane politics is also valid in today's context. Politicians now not only face traditional right-wing media, but also social media, which can manipulate public sentiment and turn it against them. We know this with the immigration problem. This leads leaders to make decisions based on what's popular in the moment, rather than what's best for the long-term well-being of the country. True leadership involves making hard decisions and explaining why they're necessary, not just chasing approval ratings. But obviously we are stuck in an era where politicians are afraid to make tough choices, fearing the loss of public support. Well, not Keir Starmer. He has made tough choices according to himself, and he has lost a lot of public support, none of which he had much in the first place. It's a concerning trend, and one that is likely to persist, given the current political climate. But tell me what you think. I've been Jake from Just Jake. As always, make love, not war, because then we'd have to change your name to Tony Blair. You actually made it to the end of the video. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, which, why haven't you already, is somewhere over there. And also, if you want to watch more videos, also check out over there. I've been Jake from Just Jake. See you later.